I was reading online that you were trained in the same school as Triple H in both China, both Joni Laurer.
Yes, Killer Kowalski is in Boston. So
That is so
yeah.
cool. I respect that a hell of a lot because not everybody can make it through the school of Killer Kowalski.
No, most people didn't. Most people didn't make it through the first month. No, but I'm assuming you're recording, so we're talking real stories now, right?
Oh yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah. A lot of it was funny. Walter would charge you the membership or the fee up front, and it would be a lifetime membership. So he would get all his money up front. He didn't do any like weekly, none of that stuff. And most people would be out by the second month. they're like,
Oh,
they were done. They were like, oh, that sucks. It's hurting. So yeah,
I
it was tough.
imagine it. I imagine it was brutal at times.
Yeah,
Just the stories that I've read and seen online
yeah,
about that school.
yes, yes.
So, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? What are you working on currently?
Well, I just got off of doing the Kill City Cup, so I was pretty excited to do that. I was impressed with that little engine that could right there is winning awards and getting to the film festivals, and I was really surprised. So I think you're familiar with it, right? It's
Yeah.
okay, so yeah, it's a little 1 hour wrestling movie, not really a movie, but wrestling show with a like kind of standalone, but it's also like wrapped in kind of embroiled with a comics and video game culture as well. So it was really, really cool, fun thing we did with a lot of people I knew. There were, people from AEW and Ring of Honor and WWE, and but we got to play somebody other than ourselves. We all got to play a character in a outlandish one at that. So that's I think what made it so much fun. So I got to go in and play Bounty, a barbarian. So with my war paint on, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and so that's been a blast. It's kind of resurrected the wrestling career for me a little bit, and I went back to Full Sail University and got my degree in writing for journalism and entertainment. So I write. I most recently I published a children's book.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
yeah, so I uh I do children's books, and this is on Barnes and Noble and Amazon, and you can even find it on Walmart. We're not that fancy, and so it's called Monty: A Tale of No Tail, and it's about how the Queen
Oh,
got one of her corgis, and um how he has no tail and he's got stubby legs, and everybody at the farm thinks he's ugly, but it turns out he just needed to go somewhere else where his talents and his look was more utilized and appreciated. So
oh.
yeah, I do that, and I make candles.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You are doing all kinds of
I do
things.
all
That's
kinds of stuff
awesome.
that keeps me off the I gets me off the screens. Yeah. So I have a Etsy store, April's Sensations, and I'm over there making some candles and doing that, and still have my Patreon page and my website, aprilhunter.com, and all that stuff keeps me busy. Still modeling, still doing cosplay. So yeah.
Awesome. That's great to hear.
Hmm.
And as far as Kill City Cup goes, I saw it. I watched it twice actually,
Hmm.
and I absolutely loved it. And your character is such a blast. I hope that she comes back for part two.
I do too. It was fun. I got taken out a little bit early on that one. But I do hope they're going to do another one because I would like to be back at a bigger capacity next time, other than,
Mhm.
just a little this, a little that. So we'll see where that goes. So we'll see.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I was looking at a little bit of your film history, and you IMDb. God bless them. They're terrible at keeping things correct on there.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
noticed that they missed a lot of your filmography, unfortunately.
Did they? What have they missed?
Um, I want to say they've missed like four or five of your movies. The last thing that they have listed was Meat Puppet.
Oh wow. Okay.
So
So
the
what am I
Meat
thinking?
Puppet, and then in between that is like I want to say Nothing Until Kill City Cup. So it's
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, there should
yeah.
be. Well, I always wonder who does that? Who keeps it up?
Mhm.
So I
Yeah,
don't know.
sometimes I think it's up to the filmmaker itself of the actual film.
Oh,
Um, yeah, because there's been times I've noticed that they've missed things, and unfortunately, that's kind of a bummer for people like you because everybody like me wanted to go out. I want to check out all of your filmography because I think that you're an amazing actress. And I loved seeing you back in the day with Scott Steiner and Medeja and Kim, and it was just those were great days, and it's always amazing seeing you flourish, and I want to see more.
thanks. Yeah, those were the heyday, the heyday of wrestling right there. That was a good time to get into it. I was very fortunate, I think.
Mhm.
Um, so I've just been yeah, I've just been very fortunate with that. But yeah, I've had some amazing opportunities to do some crazy stuff that modeling never really like modeling uh, is awesome. It's a miserable line of work because you're very uncomfortable and you're either always too hot or too cold, depending. It's a very you're leaning back against a rock with something up your pressing into your hip. You're dealing with scorpions and trying not to get stung as snakes, and you're in bushes and you're barely clothed in the winter time or you're wearing too much clothing in the summertime, but it doesn't allow you the adventure that wrestling does because modeling is everywhere. Every continent has their models, but for me, wrestling that allowed me to actually travel the world on someone else's dime and to see things, and that was really amazing.
That
But
is awesome because I
mhm,
saw that you've traveled Mexico, Japan,
mhm,
Europe, United States, just
yeah.
all over. Which is your favorite country that you've got to wrestle in so far?
Oh, I'm gonna. Wow. I have a lot of favorites, but for different reasons. I liked working in France a lot just because I like France and the crowd was good. Um, Obviously, everybody loves Japan just because it's such a learning experience and the Japanese fans are amazing. I actually really um, well, I like things for different reasons. Like I liked being able to work in Mexico, not because I liked working in Mexico so much, but I liked being there to learn the culture. Because I mean, you learn just you're gonna starve if you don't learn the language. So they would just drop us off at a house and say, "We'll pick you up on Tuesday," and this is Saturday. It's like, oh well, if I'm going to eat or go to the gym, you know, I have to learn the language and how to get around. And it's a misnomer in this country, at least when I was growing up. Like, oh, don't worry about learning another language. Everybody speaks English for business. No, they do not. I, I've been lots of places. They do not speak English for business. Like maybe some businesses, but not like they don't speak English anywhere. So you have to learn the language. So yeah. But I think one of the most valuable things that I was able to do was visit some communist countries. Um,
Oh,
which is unusual. But we got to work Romania. I've been in Cuba. I've worked, we're in Bulgaria. I've got to work. I've been in and around a lot of communist countries. And that was a really interesting learning experience for me that isn't afforded to a lot of Americans or people to be able to see that contrast and see everything that we have. And you come back and you're like, wow, you see people fighting over things like they're fighting with their neighbor over who hasn't mowed their lawn, and you're just like, oh my god, these people in this country don't have drinking water.
hmm
They haven't had toilet seats, like the rim of the toilet seat, since like 1979. they're still driving cars from 1965 and they're managing to put them together. And we're fighting over not having the right flavored yogurt and whose neighbor has long grass and the neighbors are, it's just like, it makes you realize how petty we can be sometimes and how entitled. And yeah, it's been, that was a real life changer for me on a personal level, I think. So it made me appreciate things a lot more.
I think it would definitely be very humbling, that's for sure.
Mm.
So how many different languages do you speak since you've been to so many different countries?
Um, Nothing fluently, but a lot of probably eight where I can get by. So
Wow.
German, Japanese, a little Italian, French, sign language, obviously English, Spanish. Am I missing any? I might be missing something. And I can do a pretty good Irish accent. If you want to go to the pub, we'll meet there at 4:30 in Dublin.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love it. I love it. Always love hearing a good Paddy accent.
There you go.
I have some good friends from Ireland, and they would love
There you go.
that. So, I'm going to ask you one last question. It's always the hardest question that I always ask. And what are some of your biggest inspirations?
Oh, you mean in wrestling or just in general?
Wrestling, just in general, wrestling or in film, whichever you would like to prefer.
Oh, wrestling, it would be Eddie Guerrero.
Rest in
So
peace.
yes, he was my wrestler right there. He was my person. I just loved him. To me, he was the epitome of being an entertainer and a technician, and just he was just all around good. And I just appreciated that. He was always entertaining.
Oh, love
Um,
Eddie.
and he was always reinventing and making it just was never stale. He was never stale. Um, as far as, oh my gosh, I know another big inspiration. Oh gosh, she's gone too. Another big inspiration, a big influence on me was Julie Strain. So
Ah,
I modeled my career after hers, and I worked with her in LA. She was a photographer. I was one of her models, and you know, she did the comics, she did Penthouse, she did the movies, she dabbled. I watched her and kind of studied her, and I saw her put, a toe in every ocean and do this, that, and the other. And then she was a photographer, a really good photographer too. And she was always an entrepreneur and doing this and that and remaining, kind of free spirited and not giving a shit what anybody thought. She always used to say, I spread my legs in Penthouse and I grow a set of balls. And I was like, okay, I can dig that. And
yeah.
she was, heavy metal and she did all that stuff. And I would say that she had a profound influence on my career and the directions that it took as well.
Very, very, very cool. Julie Strain, yeah, she is just amazing. Like there's not a thing that I can say negative about the woman. I just absolutely love and adore her, and just she got really sick recently,
She
hasn't
did.
she? She did, and
Yeah, she
that's just
passed away last year
she
from
did.
early Alzheimer's. Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad. I am so sad to hear that. I'd heard they made rumors a few years ago that she had passed,
Right.
and then they kept retracting it, and yeah, that's so sad to hear because she will be greatly missed because
Yeah.
yeah, amazing talent.
Yep. Yep, she was.
All right. Well, it was been a pleasure. The only thing I'm going to say now is it's your platform to say whatever you would like to say to end it on, and we will head off with that.
Well, thank you. I love a cheap plug. So, no, anybody can find me. I'm easy to find. You can find me on Twitter, April Hunter. There's also Twitter, Real April Hunter, Instagram, Real April Hunter, and you can find me on aprilhunter.com, Patreon April Hunter. I even opened an OnlyFans during lockdowns because I lost all my bookings. And don't get excited. It's not like, it's not adult. It's just physique and cosplay, but OnlyFans April Hunter. So there you go.
Hey, that's awesome though.
Well, thank
Still,
you.
that's great. You're welcome. And it's been a pleasure. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your night.
Thank you. And don't forget to check out Kill City Cult. I want to say Kill City Cult. Yes. Our Kill City Cult on Kill City Cup. You can catch that on YouTube if you just do a quick Google and watch that show and let us know what you think.
Awesome. I definitely will.
Thanks.
Cool. You're welcome. Thank you. Have a great night.
You too. Bye.
Bye bye.